What's up guys, it's Pio here. Today I'm going to explain the role of the entry fragger, its responsibilities, and the strengths needed to excel. I'll also provide some pro examples that illustrate effective entry fragging. So in essence, the entry fragger is responsible for going in first during your attacks or executes. The primary tasks of the entry fragger would be to first clear the common CT spots and possibly find opening kills in the process. As that first player in, the site defenders will focus their attention on you. You should capitalize on this by taking as much space as possible and making it easier for your teammates to trade your death and get into the site. The entry doesn't just mindlessly push in, instead attacks with a purpose. You have to realize that you will probably die a lot during your entry attempts. For most occasions, the best you can hope for is to set your teammates up for success. Getting that opening kill is not the only metric for good entry fragging. If your entry granted instant trade frags, you communicated well, and allowed your teammates to enter easier, then you've done your role well for that round. Let's now talk about the notable strengths needed to be a successful entry fragger. You'll need decent mechanics at the core of entry fragging to excel. I would emphasize certain traits such as excellent crosshair placement and counter-strafe shooting. You also need to be aware of the common CT spots and pre-aim accordingly. Your intuition plays a part in crosshair placement because you need to read the CT setup based on a combination of feel and the available information. Great mechanics go hand in hand for entry fraggers, although in some instances, teams would send their weaker players to hard entry. In their case, it is a matter of circumstance as they would want their star players to get the trade kills and survive into the late round as much as possible. The next notable trait to have as an entry would be good communication. As the entry fragger, you have to give detailed comms. These comms include what you are clearing, where the enemies are or could be. After you die, you call the enemy's health and positioning. Even after death, you can still provide value for your team by communicating on behalf of your other teammates. Executes can be hectic at times, and some people might forget to call in the heat of the moment. If you notice this, feel free to communicate for your teammates. You can call things like unwatched spots or the team's utility. Keep it concise and don't flood the voice chat. Another integral part of communication would be coordinating with the entry pack itself. As the first 2 to 3 players going in, you guys have to be on the same page when it comes to throwing grenades for each other, entry pathing, and who's clearing what. The third strength of great entry fraggers would be selflessness. Being the entry fragger is not as rewarding as other roles. Sometimes you'll just get farmed by the enemy op. Other times, the flashes don't land properly and you just die. In a lot of instances, the entry fragger faces certain death. This situation is where selflessness comes in. You have to recognize that you signed up for this role. Continuing on, the fourth required strength for entry fraggers would be their confidence. Like I've said earlier, the entry fragger faces certain death. But even if you start the game with 0 kills and 7 deaths, you shouldn't be fazed by this and should continue trusting your ability to win those entry duels. Playing afraid, hesitant, or stat conscious shouldn't be part of an entry fragger's mindset. The next necessary strength is good pathing and spacing with teammates. Good entry pathing is when you take the optimal route to a site without exposing yourself to too many unfavorable fights. As the entry fragger, you also have to consider that you can't be clogging up the entry pathing. You should avoid complete stopping by the choke point or in the open because it slows down the attack. Get from point A to point B as quickly as possible and understand that you won't have the luxury to stay static. On the other hand, good spacing means being close enough to your teammates to get traded, but far enough to draw attention and avoid the multi-frag. Though sometimes the entry fragger can push up without a teammate close by. Granted that the team is aware of this and the push was initiated to catch a timing. The last but not the least notable strength is intuition and game sense. There might be this stereotype wherein entry fraggers are all aim and no brain. I disagree with this statement because intuition and game sense is involved when entry fragging. You have to predict the CT's positioning based on their tendencies and available information. For instance, if you kill a CT in a particular spot, you must instinctively expect where his next teammate will be. Let's now go over some professional examples to illustrate my points. The first example is Grim taking space for Team Liquid versus Virtus Pro. So in round 21, Team Liquid begins their late round execute on A. Grim spearheads this attack and he finds himself pathing towards the truck side while clearing the close angles. He eventually dies to Yekindar from long A. But despite this, he got to clear truck and relay to his teammates that he died from long. The rest of Team Liquid can now turn their focus on trading out Yekindar in long A. They don't have to worry immediately about truck because Grim just cleared it. With the space and information that Grim contributed, Stewie capitalized by trading out Yekindar and getting another entry kill. Shortly afterward, Team Liquid got into good post-plants. The following example would be Tizian showing fearless entry fragging. On the 17th round, Big decides to go short A against Fnatic's force buy. From backside, Smooya Scout stabs in, but Tizian wastes no time pushing in further. He got to trade out Smooya and another kill on Crims. With how far he pushed up, he's drawn the Fnatic players' attention away from his teammates. Even if he died, the players from Big would have traded into sight anyway. This situation illustrates how Tizian showed initiative to take space and how he trusts his teammates to take advantage of his aggression. We can also observe the same trait when Big decide to run a fast play onto short side during the 21st round. From Sirsan's flashes, Tizian quickly scales up lane and catches a timing on Crims. Tizian entered A with little hesitation and trusted that his teammates could back him up if he died. Another commendable aspect of Tizian's entry fragging would be his fluid movement as he entries for his teammates. Tizian entries out balcony fluidly during their halls pop and barely makes any delays. In the process, he clears out underbalk and big pit. With this, Tizian's teammates can get out easier and focus on other angles such as sight, moto, or short. So that concludes this guide for entry fragging. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed and learned from this content. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm a head out. This video was brought to you by GG Predict. If you want to improve at other roles such as opping, feel free to check out their site. Links will be in the description.
If you play CSGO, you gotta try ggpredict.io. It's a training platform to analyze and better understand how you play and what mistakes you make during your Counter-Strike matches. Then, effectively train those aspects that need improvement. You can use it to improve literally every aspect of your game: team play, nades, pace of your game, or your aim. It not only analyzes your game in so many aspects, but also lets you train on the platform thanks to personalized training plans. How? GG Predict's AI knows exactly what you need to do to become a better player. Each week, you automatically get tailor-made trainings made by the best CSGO athletes who work with GG Predict. It's easy and fun, and you can train right on GGP servers and get all the data from your trainings analyzed. Simply connect your Steam, Faceit, or eSportal account and get your matches instantly analyzed by GG Predict. We almost forgot, if you're playing just for fun, that's great too. You'll love our social features, which allow you to compare with your friends and finally check who really is carrying the team.